Just start with the basics. If you could tell me a little bit about Outlive and its connection with the Auburn basketball team and your coaching career.
Back in, let's see, I want to get the date. All right. It's the NCAA tournament 2008 or 9, and we're playing in a Sweet 16 game against Mike Conley, who's with the Memphis Grizzlies, and Greg Oden, who was a great player for Ohio State and had injuries, didn't do a great job in the NBA, but it's a big-time game. That Ohio State team went on to beat us and lost to Florida for the national championship. I get a call from my athletic director. We've got to meet with Chris Lofton. Something's wrong. Walk into a room. There's a doctor, there's an AD, there's Chris Lofton, there's his parents. Chris failed a random drug test. I'm like, there's no way. I mean, Chris Lofton wouldn't, smoke a cigarette, drink a beer, do drugs, not. So the doctor says there's 3 possibilities. Number 1 is he took some kind of a steroid that raised his testosterone. He didn't. Number 2 was that he was pregnant. Odds of that aren't very good. And number 3, unfortunately, was that he had testicular cancer. And sure enough, due to a random NCAA drug test, because he detected it early, it saved his life.
Wow.
And so Chris went on then to quietly, privately, have chemo and radiation, and he had surgery to remove a testicle, and it saved his life. He came back the next year, didn't say anything to the public, but the whole team knew. We kept it quiet till the end of the year because we just didn't want to go on the road and have crazy fans be, chanting things or, making fun. And it was through his courage, and it was through his battle, and through the team's battle, that we decided just because he survived this wasn't enough. We got to figure out something else we could do. So one of my managers said, Coach, what do we got? We got to do something. And I asked him what he wanted to do. And he said, I don't know, let's tell the story. So we decided to start selling T-shirts, like this Outlive T-shirt, except in Tennessee it was O-U-T-L-I-V, Outlive. And we raised about $1 million.
Oh, wow.
And created tremendous awareness in the community about the fact that the way to beat cancer is to detect it early. You'll die of something else. Now go get checked. Now go get checked. But more importantly, ask 5 people that you love to go get checked. And I'm just telling you, somebody's going to find something, going to find it early enough. We brought that program here to Auburn. And Auburn and the Auburn family, as you would imagine, has embraced it.
That's great. I was just about to say, so your game is this Saturday, the Outlive game for this year. What kind of emotions do you and your team feel going into that?
I think everybody has cancer stories. Not just a story, stories. I just got a call from a friend in Knoxville whose son had been battling cancer for 10 years, just yesterday. And, he lost his life and left a family. And it's cancer kills. So I think everybody's affected. For Saturday against Alabama, I'm going to be buying 1,500 T-shirts for the students. I don't want the students to have to cough up $20. If they want to, they can. But I'm buying their shirts for them. That's my contribution. But the other 6,000 or 7,000 people that are going to be in the building, I need them to spend $20, knowing that about 13 of those dollars, 7 for the cost of this T-shirt, and $13 are going to go directly to a patient that is in the middle of chemo, radiation, or therapy to beat cancer. Because the deal with cancer is you don't just take some medicine and it goes away. It takes months, it takes years. Well, you still got to pay bills. You still got to work. And sometimes the day after chemo or 2 days after chemo, you're puking all day long. You're going to miss that paycheck. Outlive is a way through 9 agencies in the state of Alabama for us to put that money directly in the pocket of a patient battling cancer.
So do you still keep up with Chris today?
I do. In fact, one thing that I want to thank Auburn for, our president, Stephen Leith, our athletic director, Alan Green. This past football season when Tennessee came to Auburn, they did a tribute for one of the band members, Sarah DeFalco. Sarah is currently now battling cancer. She's taking online classes from home, but she's in the middle of this fight with chemo and radiation, and she is winning the fight. And the band came to me and said, Coach, we want to partner with AUTLIVE. We know what you did there. We want to do something. And so they had a tremendous halftime show about Sarah and people in this community that are outliving cancer. And we brought Chris Lofton back to Auburn, where at halftime we recognized him and honored him as the inspiration behind AUTLIVE, because Sarah is going to outlive cancer just like Chris did.
And so what are some of the effects that this campaign has had on you? How have you seen it change your life?
It's just another example of the ministry of coaching and teaching or working at a place like Auburn. I got to win basketball games to keep my job. I understand that. But it's not why I do what I do. It's to get kids graduated. It's to try to get them as boys and try to make men out of them. And in the position that I'm in, try to use my position to try to help others. And so this campaign is just one way that I'm able to serve. And I'm just grateful for the partnership at Auburn, because I'm not alone. You know, we've got a lot of volunteers and a lot of people in the athletic department that really work hard to make this happen, knowing that there's going to be a cancer patient that's worried about the mortgage payment. And someplace in Huntsville or Montgomery or Sylacauga or anywhere in the state, they're going to get a check to get that mortgage paid for, and it's going to come from AUTLIVE.
And so is there anyone in your childhood or when you were growing up as a young adult that you looked up to, that gave back, that kind of inspired you to do the same thing as you've gotten in a position to do so?
I think that as somebody that is in relationship with our Father God, it's just a calling. It's not something, sure, your family taught you how to do it, but it's really something that God presses on your heart. And it's not my way of trying to get into heaven, no way. It's but for the grace of God. It's just, you know, my way of trying to make a small difference. Just grateful for the blessings that we have.
And so when you brought this campaign to Auburn, were you a little bit hesitant to know how it was going to go, or were you not really sure how the students would take it in?
Yeah. You know, Tennessee, we had 20,000 seats. Here at Auburn, we have 8. And so just by nature of the size of the facility, we couldn't raise quite as much money, and we don't raise as much money as we did at Tennessee. But we're in partnership, you know, and I can't tell you the dozens of phone calls, emails, text messages I get from students, fans, and as you know from my responding to your email, I respond when I'm contacted. I can't always make things happen because of, Coach, I called my mom, she got a mammogram, we found stage 1 breast cancer, and if it wasn't for the AUTLIVE program or the t-shirt, or I wouldn't have said anything to her. You hear those stories over and over again, and that just tells you we're making a difference.
So other than Chris, has there been anyone in your life that makes this super personal for you every time that you go out and raise money for it?
Absolutely, but I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it for those reasons, and I couldn't tell you the stories because I could not tell those stories without crying. So yes, we've lost a lot of great friends and family to cancer. And
so there's a lot of people in the Auburn community you've gotten the chance to help. Could you tell me a little bit about your experience with them? So I know I read the editorial with Mayor Anders' parents and stuff like that.
Yeah. The most heartbreaking things are the young kids, the kids with childhood cancers. Those are some of the most deadly. So I've gotten a chance to meet a lot of those kids and try to encourage them. And, you know, because you're in the work, you know many kids have died. So they're strangers when you meet them. And you kind of encourage them and you promise them that the attitude and the fight, cancer picked the wrong hombre. And I know some kids now that are going through it right now, and their attitudes are incredible. They're worried about me and whether or not we're going to win a basketball game, and I'm worried about their next chemo treatment. So I just think that, you know, through the program and through being able to help others, Yeah, we're making a difference. I just tell you, the kids and the families, they're grateful. They're appreciative, and you got to have you got to have the right attitude, and it helps if your faith is strong, and pray for miracles and pray for the doctors to have the knowledge to figure out what, and you don't want to have to go through it alone.
And is there a way that you can encourage Auburn community members to get more involved, to just be more aware of it?
Yeah, I mean, you go on the website, it's outlive.com, and it's through my foundation, and every penny that we get goes to a patient. It's just, there's no administrative cost because it's me and my wife, and that's it, and whatever, And so through the sale of the shirts, it costs $20 for a shirt, it costs us $7. We're able to raise 13. And so that's what we're looking to try to do. Could we use some volunteers? I get students all the time. We're at Camp War Eagle, and I say, hey, you want to get involved in something? You want a marketing project? You want to, we'll be selling T-shirts in the lobby. We need manpower. So yes, and the more people that we get, the more we can serve.
And so you say you worked with your wife on this. Does she love doing it? Is it something she works on time in, time out? What's her experience?
No, it's just something that we're able to do together. And we've got Tammy Jackson is out of the Sylacauga area, and Tammy works to help our foundation, Russell Medical, and got to know her through Children's Harbor, one of our other philanthropic works. My banker, Johnny Kinsey, my right-hand man, Chad Pruitt, who's my assistant, and then we work with the different agencies, and so it's a very small team, but we're starting now to get people to say they like the idea of just being able to even anonymously, here's some more money, make sure it gets to a patient that needs the money to pay the bills. And that's what we're doing. We're just that conduit. We're that in between.
Yeah. I'm trying to make sure I didn't leave anything out. I don't want to keep you too long.
So when our students are on campus and they're walking by somebody wearing AUTLIVE, say something to them. Hey, love your AUTLIVE shirt. Thanks for supporting AUTLIVE. Tell your mom or dad to go get checked. That's the whole deal. Yeah, we raise some money, but it's all about awareness. It's all about paying attention. Ask your doctor. You're of a certain gender. You're of a certain age. There are certain blood works and certain testing that you should be going through, and that's what it's all about.
So, is there a certain program where kids or students like us can go and get checked in a certain way, or do we just kind of have to? There are, like East Alabama Medical Center, right here in Auburn Opelika, has got a really good, cancer center, and there is free screenings. There are free mammograms available for, our college students. Now, a young lady in college is not of the age for a routine mammogram, but there's information on some things that they can look for to potentially say, hey, I'm a candidate. There's family histories. We're doing a lot of studies on campus about genetics, both through the med center, through the vet school. There's going to be a van out front at the AUTLIVE game where people could come in and get a bit of a genetic profile about whether or not they could be a candidate for a certain kind of cancer. And we're going to do that at the AUTLIVE game. And so this just things like that. And so how have you seen the members of your team get involved as this has been at Auburn? They understand the impact that it has, except, and then from their standpoint, look, they're student athletes. They're full-time. Between academics and the conditioning and the weight training and the practicing and the tutors and the mentors and all the community service that we do, this is a part of what we do, and I'm sure it means more to those who've had family members that are battling cancer or friends, but there's a ton on their plate, and I try to have them participate without having them imposing on the incredible demands of a student athlete's time. Is there anything you think we're missing?
Just if there's anything else you'd like to add or anything of that nature.
I guess the long-term goal was that while AUTLIVE is Auburn basketball's fight against cancer, I'd love it to become Auburn University's, fight. If that would be something that, would ever take place. It doesn't have to, but just, want it to continue to be part of our DNA. and just blessed for the opportunity to serve, and so grateful for the university leadership and the students, who are participating and making a difference.